Tea was past 2 in the morning. The streets were empty, silent in the way that makes you feel like the world has stopped breathing. Now and then, a dog barked in the distance, the sound swallowed quickly by the heavy night air. Ethan Miller was exhausted. He had been working all day in a small-town auto shop, fixing busted engines and patching up old trucks. Cars were his life, and business never really stopped. Just as he was closing up, his phone buzzed. A customer's car had broken down on a back road outside of town. The man sounded desperate. Ethan thought about saying no. He was bone-tired, but he also knew how it felt to be stranded in the middle of nowhere at night. So he grabbed his tool kit, hopped on his motorcycle, and headed out into the dark. By the time Ethan finished the repair, almost an hour had passed. The customer was grateful, handed him some cash, and drove off. Ethan checked his phone. 2:07 a.m. His stomach sank. The road home was long, quiet, and not the kind of place you wanted to be riding alone this late. He kicked his bike to life and rode into the silence. The headlight carved a pale tunnel through the fog, but beyond there was nothing but black. The night felt heavier than usual. The air was damp, clinging to his skin. Trees leaned over the road, their branches scratching together like bones. Every now and then, Ethan swore he could hear footsteps trailing behind him. He glanced back, but of course the road was empty. Just the nerves, he told himself. Just a long night messing with me. But then he saw something that made his stomach twist. On the right side of the road stood a building he had never noticed before. It looked like an old hostel, or maybe a dorm. The walls were cracked, the windows busted out, and there wasn't a single light inside. And right in front of that building stood a woman. From a distance, she looked normal. A black dress, hair that fell in dark waves down to her waist, skin pale in the moonlight. Ethan slowed his bike, frowning. Maybe she was stranded. Maybe she needed help. Nobody should be standing out here at this hour. But as the headlights swept across her face, Ethan's blood turned cold. She wasn't standing at all. She was floating a few feet above the ground. Her hair wasn't just long. It was impossibly long, dragging along the dirt, though she never touched it. Her face glowed, white and blinding in the darkness. Her eyes burned a deep, unnatural red, and her smile stretched across her face in a way no humans ever should. Ethan's instincts screamed at him. This wasn't a woman. It wasn't human. He swerved hard, his bike skidding before it caught grip again. His heart slammed against his ribs. He didn't think. He just tore down the road as fast as his engine would carry him. The wind whipped at his face. His hands trembled on the handlebars. He just had to make it home. That was all. Just home. Then, right by his ear, came a whisper. "Why didn't you give me a ride?" Ethan nearly lost control of the bike. The voice was so close, as if someone had leaned in, lips brushing against his skin. He whipped his head around. Nothing. The road behind him was empty. He swallowed hard, muttering, "Not real, not real," but his gut told him it was. Minutes later, gasping for breath, Ethan slowed the bike near an intersection. His chest hurt, and his eyes stung with sweat. And then, he saw her again. She was standing in the middle of the road ahead, waiting for him. Her pale skin glowed, her black hair coiled in the air like it had a life of its own. This time, she was smiling wide, her teeth sharp in the moonlight. "You can't escape me," she said. The words didn't just echo. They crawled through his skull, scraping at his bones. Ethan's hands shook as he twisted the throttle. He swerved around her, refusing to look back. No matter how fast he went, she was always there. Sometimes he'd see her ahead of him, blocking the road. Sometimes she'd appear off to the side, peering at him through the trees. And once, God help him, he saw her face reflected in a side mirror, grinning just inches away from him, even though nothing was behind him. His vision blurred with tears, his throat raw with the screams he was choking back. All he wanted was to see the familiar streetlights of home. Finally, his neighborhood came into view. Relief surged through him. He pulled into his driveway, hands shaking so badly he nearly dropped his keys as he tried to open the gate. Then, he heard again, "Where are you going to leave me now?" The voice was right behind him. Too close. He spun around, and she was there, right at his gate. Her hair writhed in the air like a nest of snakes. Her face glowed, pale and terrible, only inches from his own. He could feel the chill of her breath against his cheek. Her smile stretched wider and wider, splitting across her face like a crack in porcelain. Ethan screamed, and everything went black.